Hey guys, Cal here today with the 2012 Ford Escape, and this particular one is the limited trim model in the front-wheel drive format with the 2.5-liter four-cylinder under the hood. On the interior, we have some beautiful black leather on this limited trim, and there's a reason that people are still buying the second-generation Ford Escape over even the third or fourth-generation Ford Escape, and we're going to go over today why this is the best used car for under $10,000. So starting out on the front end of the 2008 through 2012 Ford Escape here is this really simple, really just pretty truck-looking exterior to the front bumper here. I mean, you have these chrome grills here on the limited trim, which if you don't get a limited, this bottom part of the bumper, this is all just body color paint down here. And then you also get these headlights and fog lights here that are all halogen. There's no crazy LED technology, nothing expensive to worry about replacing in the front end here. It's all very simple to work on. You can do the work yourself. There's no reason to take it to the dealership. And it just has such a handsome look up here. It's just that old school squared off look that really I think most of us want out of an SUV. Just some quick history on the Ford Escape here. This Ford Escape here rides on the Ford CD2 platform, which was jointly created back in 2001 by Ford and Mazda together, using some components from Mazda's own GF platform that they were using for some of their sedans at the time. And that would create the Mazda Tribute and the Ford Escape that we know today, and it would also be shared later in 2005 by the Mercury Mariner as well. And another reason this generation of Escape was so reliable was all of the parts sharing that happened on this platform. Not only did the Mazda Tribute and the Ford Escape and Mercury Mariner share this same platform, this same chassis, but you also had these engine options that were shared across all of those as well. So you have the four-cylinder here, which Mazda was in charge of producing the four-cylinder for all of these, whether it's the Ford Escape, Mazda Tribute, whatever it is, and then Ford was in charge of coming up with that optional V6. So that is Ford manufactured. So my engine preference here personally is I really like the 2.5-liter four-cylinder. If I had to choose between two, just because I know this is a really bulletproof engine. A lot of great reviews about it from owners online, myself included. I had a 2009 Ford Escape that ran like an absolute top. I had it running, I think up to about 130,000 miles before I sold it, unfortunately, due to some rust that was just starting to drive me crazy. So I did end up getting rid of it, but the engine was still running flawlessly by the time I got rid of it. So that is one reason that this still remains to be such a incredibly reliable platform, is there are so many shared parts between all of these same SUVs. And one last reason I would choose the 2.5-liter four-cylinder over the V6 engine option is because of the ease of access of everything in this engine bay. I mean, when you're under the hood and you look and you can see the whole back of the engine back here, I mean, everything with this 2.5-liter, because of how small it is, there is so much room in here to work on this. So I really love the amount of space there is to work in here. And then also these spark plugs are really easy to get to, whereas on the V6 you do have to take some cowling off the top of the engine and kind of undo some wiring in order to get to those spark plugs. These ones all very easy to access right on top of the engine here. And another reason people are still buying this second generation of Ford Escape over the third and fourth generation Ford Escape is its incredibly boxy, handsome lines that were on this generation of Escape. I mean, if you didn't know any better and you hadn't ever seen one of these in your life, looking at the side profile, you might even mistake this thing for a Jeep with just how handsome and boxy these lines are. I mean, they just have these simplistic taillights on the rear end that really round out the rear end of the car. You got these great chrome roof rails up here, which you get on the limited trim. You get some nice chrome trim on those roof rails. So if you got to throw a canoe or even a roof box, roof basket up top, I myself had a roof basket on mine. And it also has this on the door. Of course, you had your Ford key code, your little keypad on the door here, which I always used on mine, because if you were going out in the lake, you were jet skiing, or you were going to the beach, you were doing something where you definitely didn't want to lose your keys, you could go ahead and lock them in the car all day, and then when you came back to the car at the end of the night, punch your code in real quick and get right inside back to your keys, and you don't have to worry about them all day when you're out in the water or doing something out on the beach. The back end of this SUV is just so squared off and so good looking that really, that's why I keep saying, like, seriously, if there were no markers on this thing, you would think it was a Jeep. It just has the best, most timeless square lines around this whole car. You see, this one does have a little backup camera right here. So that was an option on some of the trim models, where when you put it into reverse, there's a little square that comes up in your rear view mirror. So when you're backing up, you can see what you're backing up to, in addition to your little backup sensors down here as well. And then on the later models, you're gonna see that the handle to open the trunk is down here. Now on the 2008, 2009, somewhere in there, those ones, you're gonna have the button to open your trunk up here. but on the later models, it is down here. Now you do have this button here, glass, go ahead and hit that. That is going to pop your trunk like that, and then you can just toss some stuff in real quick. Just kind of reach in, grab something real quick. I mean, it's really nice to have. This one even came with the little cargo shade here, so that's kind of cool to see. And then you have your little speaker in the trunk, your little subwoofer back here. Nice little carpeted area. And then myself, when I was shutting this on my own, I always kind of just did it like that. I just kind of shut it like that because I heard of stories of people slamming these shut and this glass just shattering back here, and they ended up having to get that replaced. So you can just put a little pressure on the bottom of it and just close it like that. You don't have to slam it shut. And then opening up the main trunk, there's your Escape badging. Got that limited designation right there. Go ahead and open that up. So you got a nice little door sill right here. Pretty big actually. I mean, you can even sit down on that. It's pretty relatively wide, wider than some other modern SUVs that I've seen. So it is nice to have this little, I guess you could call it tailgate to sit on. And you have this here. Go ahead and peel up that carpet and you will see under here, under your carpet, is a little built-in storage compartment. So you can open that up and then hide anything valuable under there perhaps, and then go ahead and close it when you're done with it and put the carpet back over it. And really, if somebody ever broke into the car, they might not even know that's there, so that's cool. You have a little pocket over here to toss some wash rags, things like that. This is just a very versatile trunk back here in the Escape. And coming around the side of the Escape, we'll go ahead and check out the fuel door right here. As you can see, they do have the easy fuel system in use. As you can see down in there, don't put E85 or any of that stuff in here. Go ahead and climb into the back seat here, and there's a nice little door pocket here. Not very big, maybe put a couple washcloths in there, really not too big of a space. And then on the door panel here, you have this, looks kind of like a cheesecloth pattern or something, but it is padded, so they did at least take the effort to put some padding on the door panel here. Got your speakers down below, and then getting in, you will see here that I have this leg space like this. This seat was in the position that it was in when I was just driving, and you do see that my knees are touching, but they're not really like, you know, digging into it like they are in some SUVs. So there's a fair amount of space in the back seat for me being 6'2" with some pretty long legs here. Behind the center console from the front seat, you do have two little cup holders for the rear seat passengers back here. A little 12-volt charger back here as well. Another little space to put your things right there. And then some little pouches behind the driver and passenger seats. And this leather is a really high quality in here. I mean, it's never gonna like rip on you or anything like that. The leather that was in my Escape was in incredible shape even after about 130,000 miles. And this leather in here is no different. Now this one only has 60,000 miles, but it is still a 12-year-old car at this point. So to see leather that is in this good of condition after 12 years is pretty impressive. I mean, these black seats almost look like brand new in here. They look beautiful. All right, guys, and climbing into the driver's seat of the Escape here. There's your side mirrors. You do see you got a little blind spot mirror right in the corner there. There's your door panel. Looks just like the rear door panel. Got all your window switches, things like that on the door. And on your headlight switch over here, go ahead and pull it out for the fog lights like that. And you have your info set up. This is going to control that tiny little screen at the bottom, right up ahead. Now, getting into the driver's seat here, I do have pretty ample space, even as somebody who is 6'2". My little info setup buttons, all that good stuff down here is going to play with that tiny screen that's at the bottom. So if I hit the info button, it'll bring up trip A, trip B. Got your little estimation as to when you're going to run out of gas there. Your average fuel economy, I know, not that impressive in the 4-cylinder here. That's about what mine was at. Very surprising for a small 4-cylinder, but you do got to remember this was back in 2012. I mean, SUVs really weren't super fuel efficient yet, but still halfway decent mileage by today's standards for a boxy SUV like this. That's pretty much it for that little bottom screen there. Fuel gauge, your coolant temp gauge right up top there. You have this nice simple tachometer on the left. and then your little speedometer on the right. Very easy to read, very modern, very clean looking. And then your steering wheel has this high quality leather on it that's going to last a pretty long time. It's held up much better than the Chevy leather that I've seen from the same age range. So this is very durable leather on the steering wheel here. Looks good, feels good, got some nice little decorative stitching, nice little imprints there to kind of give you that feeling of a nice luxurious wheel in the limited trim model here. And then your whole stack here, you just got your basic volume controls, your tune and your volume right there. You can set all your presets. You have your buttons in the middle here for your phone call system, because this does have the Bluetooth calling and the Bluetooth audio as well. All your climate control stuff is going to be down here. Notice that you do have dual zone climate here in the limited trim model, so that's pretty cool. Your heated seats are down below right there. They are just one setting. It's either on or off. There's no tri-level setting for the heated seat like there is in most cars. Right below the heated seats, you do have a 12-volt charger port, just like we did back there, so you have that up front as well. You have a little USB port here, and then you also have a little aux port for some music there as well. If you don't have your phone hooked up, say it's your friend in the passenger seat, but this does have that sync from Microsoft, so you do get the Bluetooth calling and the Bluetooth audio on the steering wheel right here. Got your little buttons to turn the volume up and down, and then your cruise control settings are all on the left side over here. And then you have your shifter down here. Very easy, very simple to use. And then this button right here, actually, if you see, changes the color of these lights. So you see you have pink. After that, you have orange. You have a little red option here. I mean, there's I think I had mine on green most of the time. Yeah, there it is. That's what I had on mine most of the time when I owned mine. So it's really cool to see ambient lighting, mood lighting, whatever you want to call it, in a car that was $28,000 when this Limited was brand new. And to see something like that is just so, so cool. And all the lights in here, even the little ones in the cup holder, 12 years later, they still work. Look at that. That is crazy. So really like that. You can even choose your own color. You have your center console here, which has a pretty good storage size. You have this nice vinyl up top, which is going to be very durable. And as you can see, it is slightly padded, so it's not really brick hard. And then like we saw earlier, we have those cup holders in the back. And then this one does have the sunroof option up top as well. So I can go ahead and pop that open on a nice sunny day like it is today. And would you look at that? She still works 12 years later. And we'll go ahead and shut it. That's it. Just like that. And we just went through the car wash earlier and it wasn't leaking any water. So you even got these little garage door buttons. You can program your garage door to it. If you carry your sunglasses in the car with you, you got that little holder right there. So everything was really well thought about in this SUV. And the interior, with all these square lines and everything, is just so simple, so modern, that really it's just like a timeless interior. Even though this is 12 years old, you would never think about it looking at this. I mean, this is probably the best looking interior you could get for 10 grand, at least for a car that's actually going to be reliable for $10,000 or less. So, all right guys, so filming a quick drive review of the Escape here. One thing I noticed initially getting in is at those lower speeds, when you're maybe kind of babying the throttle, you're not really going too quick, maybe you're going through a parking lot, something like that, the transmission definitely is a little jumpy. It can be a little jarring with some of those shifts at lower speeds if you're not really in the gas. Whereas if you are, you know, kind of getting on it a little bit more, perhaps revving the car out, whatever you want to call it, the transmission, surprisingly, when you're doing that, responds better than it would if you were, you know, kind of trying to treat it nice or trying to, like, you know, baby it. So that is one thing I've noticed about the transmission. It's not really an engine issue, more so the transmission. The seating position is pretty good. I find the cushion in the seats is good. However, you are missing some lumbar support in these seats, so that is to note. And then the leather is pretty slippery in here, so it does make getting out of the car pretty easy. But when you're sitting in the car and you're actually taking it down the road, you're going on a trip, whatever you're doing, you can almost kind of find yourself like sliding down in the seat like this. You know, it kind of becomes like a slide if you don't have the bottom part of the seat at the right angle. And the shocks in here are pretty truck-like, pretty SUV-like, surprisingly. So if you've been in something like a Subaru Crosstrek or pretty much any Subaru, they all really have pretty stiff shocks overall. It's going to be the same feel in here. It has those very tough truck feeling shocks in here. So that's another thing I really like about the Escape is, unlike a lot of the modern day SUVs where everything's been softened up and it basically feels like a car at that point, this generation of Escape still has that, you know, tough SUV truck feeling that you want when you're buying an SUV. Okay guys, doing a little 0 to 60 run here in the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Let's go. Oh, oh, wow. See? It's all about when you really get in the gas in this thing, it performs so much smoother than when you're babying it. The transmission doesn't know what to do when you're giving it that low throttle input. That was incredible. That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. And another thing I wanted to mention is these heated seats, even though they are just single setting, they always seem to be a kind of like the perfect temperature. Not too hot, not too cold. We actually had them on for quite some time yesterday. And great level of warmth on those. Also, when you're driving this, the side mirrors are incredible. The visibility in here is like no other SUV really in this class. You have these little puddle mirrors, these little blind spot mirrors, not only on the driver's side, but also on the passenger side, which is a thing that a lot of SUVs and even pickup trucks I've driven seem to miss out on, is having a blind spot mirror on the passenger side. So great visibility when you're parking and when you're driving this thing. And when you're not going over crazy bumps and things like that, really, the suspension is super smooth. The road noise is quiet in here. It's super composed. I mean, once you get on those pothole roads, you will feel it a little bit. It's going to feel a little stiffer. But when you're on a smooth road, straightaway, expressway, whatever, this thing is the best, just quietest cruiser for being an SUV with shocks like this. And the last thing I want to talk about that I had a little bit of a complaint here is the radio screen up here. While it is simple, it's easy to look at. I love it. There's a lot of great info on it. There's one thing, when you do get the sun to hit it at just the right angle, if you're kind of cruising home at rush hour, it's like 5, 6 o'clock and that sun is coming down out of the sky, it can shine quite a glare on there. I don't know if you guys just caught that. But when that glare and that sun comes in, you really can barely see that radio screen. So that's one thing I wish they would have given it a little covering, a little hood, whatever you want to call it. One more thing I wanted to mention about Escape ownership with the 2.5 liter specifically is, if you guys go and test drive one of these or you buy one of these and you notice the exhaust is a little louder than normal, you might think there's something wrong with it. Just know that there is nothing wrong with it. The 2.5 liter just characteristically has a pretty loud exhaust. I had it on my 2009 Ford Escape with the 2.5. This 2012 with the 2.5 also has a pretty loud exhaust. So just know that that is a characteristic of the 2.5. And rounding out my thoughts on why the Gen 2 Ford Escape is the best used car for under $10,000, sure, you could get something basic and reliable like a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla, but if you want to be different, or perhaps if you just need an SUV in general because you want to be able to tow a jet ski or a small trailer, or you just simply want the look and the extra space, I would say that the Ford Escape is the option for you, not only for its reliability, but just how handsome this overall package is with these squared off lines. People still seem to love it to this day. And if you look at some of the used car prices, some of the Gen 3 Ford Escapes are selling for less than their Gen 2 Ford Escape counterparts. So that's definitely saying something regarding how much people still love the Gen 2 Ford Escape and just how reliable it is, because things typically hold value if they are reliable. And that's exactly what the Gen 2 Ford Escape is. So if you guys have any questions about my own Ford Escape ownership for me, leave them in the comments down below and I can get them answered. If you did enjoy this video, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.